Welcome back to the Scott.Re project, and today I'm just going to do a bit of deer butchery. I'm not going to go too much into the butchery. I just want you guys to sit back, relax, and I shall talk a bit as we go through. But what we got here is a fantastic roe buck shot 3 nights ago, and all I've done for my first cut, as you can see, if I put the carcass up like that, where the legs ended, I've just gone straight through and sawn it. That was for ease of chilling. So what we're going to do then is a quick butchery breakdown. You get your legs, and as you can see, straight down the middle. You really do need a butchery saw for this, but I'm just going to saw straight through. We've got our 2 legs. So we can keep these on the bone as haunches, but what I want to do, just on a little angle to the tail, about a finger from the H bone, the hip bone, just one. Same with this side. So the H bone, the hip bone, put your finger there, aim it towards the tail, again, saw through. And that will give you your chumps or your rumps. You have to excuse me, I've got a bit of man flu, but I will power through because it's rock and roll, baby. All I'm going to do is trim up any blood meat, and then I am going to nip off the shanks, so straight through, he says. One shank, and again, just put your knife in. That was a bit of luck, first time, or is it the skill? And just take your shanks off. Leave them on the bone. Who doesn't love a slow roasted shank of venison with pearl barley, or bone it out, dice it, or for sausage? Right, to our legs. Going to nip out the H bone. Just following the bone. Get that ball joint. And just take your knife, get rid of that. And there we have one haunch on the bone. I like to take that knuckle bone off, one of the hardest bones in the beast. And there we have one haunch of roe deer. So take the H bone out of this one. You can see my knife flexing around that hip bone, through the ball joint. He says, again, look at that. And just take that off. And again, that knuckle bone, you can feel where it ends. One side, the other side. Carefully get your knife under. There we have haunch number 2. Just take that silver skin off. Bone and haunches. We put those there. So we got our haunches, our shanks, and then these chumps or rumps. Just going to quickly bone out. This is the equivalent obviously to a rump steak, so great for frying on the barbie. Put another shrimp on the barbie. It's so hard to do this with a camera, but I can do it. And with the other one, still a little bit of blood in this. All our trim I will go through at the end, dice it, or for mince, for hamburgers or venison burgers, sausage. Just trace that bone down, and there you have. We'll get a couple of steaks out of that. And there's the legs taken care of. Can you see that? Beautiful. So next we are going to deal with the saddle and the shoulder. Several ways you can do this. I have been favouring just seaming the shoulder off so I can get a longer loin. It's easy. Or you can cut it as you would a lamb, but as you can see, it's only muscle holds that on. And then these breasts I'm going to saw. Now, always hard cutting the breasts of venison. If you've got some strong poultry shears or even some tin snips, I know that sounds mad, but I'll give you a demonstration because there's not a lot of fat on your deer. There's not a lot of integrity there. So both sides, take our breasts off. That goes straight to trim or ribs. Right, we're left with our neck and our saddle. So what we need to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go 5, you can go 6. I'm going to get a little bit of a bigger loin. 5 either side, straight down. As soon as you hear the saw go through the bone, stop, and then you're left with this beauty. So many possibilities. Now you can prepare this as chops or double chops, or take the backstrap out, or prepare the racks and leave the loin end as double chops or chops. What I'm going to do, because I like it, is just take the backstrap or the loin fillet out, prime, cut, and all we're doing is basically just following the rib cage. So get your knife right up against it, just ease it out. Over those bones, and basically just follow the rib cage and it will all come off in one bit. And we just trim that up. Now we have our venison loin or backstrap, which we will deal with in a moment. I shall take it off the other side. So with our backstraps then, peel that skin off. Again, into trim. Easy as. And what I do, cut, not all the way through, put your knife flat as if you're filleting or skinning a fish, and that gets rid of that silver skin, which if you don't and you pan fry this will bunch up. But there's prime loin fillet or backstrap steaks. Just have a look at that. Put your knife in, wiggle, wiggle baby. There we have it. 4 beautiful loin steaks. So moving on, we got our neck. Again, go down the one side, have these as neck fillets, a great cut, very expensive, and it's just following the bone. You can dice this, it's a great cut of meat. If this was lamb, it would be very expensive indeed. It's a hefty chunk of meat as well. Give my knife a sharpen. So just follow the bone basically down, and then over those few ribs. If I can get my angle right for the camera, it comes off, as you can see, quite easy. I mean, you can cut the shoulders off whole if you want to, but as you all know, we're only going to dice it or mince it, so I prefer to take these off, save these great nuggets of meat. And again, seam the fillet off from the shoulder, the natural seam, and you'll see you're left with that. Do the same to this side. You can see how easy that comes away. There's the seam. Tidy that bit up into our trim pile. Take out that little band of gristle. And we have number 2. So we got our haunches, our little rump steaks, our shanks, our loin eye fillets or backstraps, and then our neck fillets. Onto our breasts then. Not a lot on these, as you can see. It's a lean beast, like a supermodel. I'm just going to find it easier if you just keep it down on the block, because there ain't a lot on these, and just gently follow the contours of the bone. You'll see it rounds out, and that into the mince pile. Okay, so what we're left with then is these shoulders. As I've said, as you may or may not know, mostly this goes into diced or ground beef. Several ways you can do this. First, take the blade bone out by just gently going over the top. As you can see, this is an odd shaped bone, so come on out, and either side, one side, two side, that's loosened it off, and here is a ball joint. See if I can move that around so you can see. Expose it and just get your knife in, and around the joint. And then just loosen it off underneath either side, and you should be able to get your hand in and pull. And that's your blade bone out. Going to nip off that shank, the front, just loosen it over the block, and that can be boned out for dice. Either side, this is what everybody starts butchering on, is a shin. Keeping your point of the knife up to the bone, and there you have. And all that's left, get your knife in close to the bone, just follow it around that ball joint. There you have your boneless shoulder ready to dice. Easy when you know how, folks. So basically it's just a case of dicing all your prime trim, nice chunks, and any bits and bobs just put to one side. That will go through the mincer. We can trim out that. And it's a slash job, straight through. And as you can see, people ask me, how do you know what's trim and what's not? You basically just got to judge it. If you think it's going to make a decent cube, cube it. If you don't think it's going to make a decent cube like that, put it straight into your ground or mince pile. But you can see this takes seconds. And that one muscle out the shoulder. Square it off. I'm a bit fussy like that. Straight through. There's dice. Of course, I know it looks easy, but you can't really go wrong with this, guys. There we have one pile of dice out the shoulder and a little bit of trim for our mince. That's our shoulders. So there's the dice pile out of our two shoulders. This is that bowl of trim. We add off the rest. So it's just a case of, like I said, go through. If you think it's going to make a decent cube, into your dice pile. If not, into your mince pile. And that's all you've got to do is judge it for yourself. Obviously the breasts, they'll go straight into the mince. This was that off the shoulder, not a bad piece of meat. So I should take off any rubbish, dice a few out the middle, and that's all you've got to do, guys, is just go through and have a look. What's left really is mince. So out of that, got some decent trim for sausages or burgers, and then our pile of diced from the shoulder muscles and the hocks or shins. There's two neck fillets. That's the shoulders nailed. So my friends, what did we achieve from this little row? Well, let's get this. Neck fillets. There's our pile of cubed or diced venison there. With our neck fillets. Those fantastic backstrap or loin fillets. Stunning, stunning cuts of meat. Those chumps I did earlier, take a couple of steaks off them. Any blood meat we should get rid of. And the other one, I know it seems a lot for a little, but they are just fantastic. Then our beautiful shanks and our haunches bone in. Now what I do with these most of the time, as you might see on my other videos, if you check down there in the comments, I shall link to my other videos, my roes and my muntjac. I just wanted to do something a little different, wanted to keep these on the bone as haunches. But what I am going to do quickly, I shall show you what I would do with these if you didn't want the bone in. There's a seam, if you can see the natural seam there. Just get your knife in and just go to the bone. You'll start exposing that bone, as you can see in there. So just follow it with your knife. Pretty much go down and you will hit the natural seam of the silver side, or the outside round, or the bottom round, and then nip out the marrow bone or the femur by just tracing each side. Then you're left with that beautiful boneless haunch, which is basically your top and your bottom round joined, or your inside and outside round joined, or as we call it, top side and silver side. So that's completely boneless. What I would do with that is put a few strings around it, and if you want to see or learn how to do a butcher's knot, I had a good write-up in Good Food Island magazine. Check that out, guys. How to tie a butcher's knot. It's easy to master. Follow my video. Clear instructions, and it's such a useful knot to master. You can truss your own chickens, tie your own joints, or you can go all 50 shades of grey and tie anybody up. Right, that's that. The butcher in me would trim that to square it off, that into dice, and there you have your haunch, bone in, boneless. Then you've either got a mini joint there, which we call a thick flank, or a knuckle. You could put a few strings around that, slice it into steaks or dice it, but that is a great little joint to enjoy. So if you want to learn that knot, then down in the comments you'll see how to tie a butcher's knot, and that basically, my friends, is how to butcher a deer. There's our trim. Hope you enjoyed that. So if you've liked what you've seen here today on the Scott Ree Project, guys, please click down there somewhere on the subscribe button, share it and like it. Also find me on Facebook at Scott Ree or the Scott Ree Project. Also Twitter up there at the Scott Ree Project, and like it, share it and spread the word. Until next time, I've got to get this all on chill. I'll see you again. Take care.